The absurdity of anti-fascism in the absence of fascism. We speak unceasingly of a fascism at the doors. It is obsessively repeated that fascism is today the real enemy. Let's say it. Sometimes the dominant symbolic order is strengthened by the preservation of long extinct oppositional dichotomies. This is what happens with today's liturgical anti-fascism in the complete absence of fascism. Just as in the days of Gramsci and Gobetti, that is, when fascism was alive, today's anti-fascism, more than 70 years after the end of Nazi fascism, becomes an expressive function of the only politically correct thought, legitimizing the capitalistic bond of force. Perhaps, who knows, by making of the government party a new sacred front of anti-fascism. Economic fanaticism, on the one hand, uses anti-fascism as a means for the permanent critique of all dictatorships, past, present, and future, thus enabling the neoliberal kingdom as the only free, not dictatorial regime, which explains, incidentally, the firm rejection of the anti-fascist liturgy that Amedeo Bordiga knew how to assess from a Marxist perspective, realizing with farsightedness the symbiotic link between anti-fascism and liberalism. Considering also that today's anti-fascism in the absence of fascism dislocates the conflict and the passion involved in the criticism by diverting them from the present contradiction, meaning the capitality's nexus with force, linking to an extinct entity, fascism. By so doing, it offers an alibi to the many castigators of a present of which they are secretly part in order not to oppose economic fanaticism. It enables them to fight an enemy already buried, accepting placidly the one alive, to oppose the past truncheon, accepting in silence the invisible economy truncheon, meaning social injustice, unemployment, misery, savage privatization, and deregulation of labor. This explains, incidentally, today's thorough reconciliation of the left with capitalism. The enemy for them is always and only the eternal fascism, though dead and buried more than 70 years ago. And so it happens that, in one of the many scenes of ordinary post-modernity, while the young anti-fascists in the absence of fascism clash in the square with the young anti-communist in the absence of communism, the capital, the kings of finance, and the lords of globalism do not stop to carry out undisturbed their policies, while no dissent is voiced against their irresponsible operations. Between the tragic and the comic, this scenario recalls to memory, in its essential traits, the practice of the 2 minutes of hatred, quote-unquote, outlined by Orwell in the pages of 1984. In the name of fighting fascism, which is no longer there, the new left, liberal and anti-Marxist, can accept capitalism with stupid euphoria. Capitalism that clearly is still there, armed with invisible truncheons, used daily to strike the unemployed and indebted workers and young people from all over the world.